Welcome back to Impact by Momentum. I have to tell you, this was by far the heaviest conversation I've had on the show. My guests today are Meyer and Golda Ashear, an incredible couple who have been struggling with infertility for the past 6.5 years. They've experienced one of the deepest, most painful challenges a person can face, wanting a child and not being able to have one. And yet, amidst all the pain, all the struggle, they started an organization called A Giving Hand, which aims to help others overcome that same struggle. Guys, our conversation was unbelievable. Just to give you some context before we dive in, they've helped 140 couples so far, taken part in over 40 births, and have 25 more babies on the way. But numbers aside, this was an extraordinary conversation. And guys, before we jump in, A Giving Hand is hosting an amazing concert in New Jersey on Sunday, July 6th with the one and only Kobe Peretz. Get your tickets now at the link in the show notes. Let's get into it. Golda and Meyer Ashear, welcome to Impact.
Thank you for having us.
So excited to be here. Thank you.
Wow. Guys, I don't know, the fact that we even got here today, it was crazy. I mean, we called you 2 months ago, and Hashem had a plan, and he got us to meet today, which I'm so excited for.
Perfect time for it.
Yeah. You are two people who have endured one of the most difficult struggles in the world. You have suffered through infertility for over 6.5 years. And then you dedicated your entire organization to other people to help solve their problem because they had the same problem of infertility. So I want you to take me to before then, before the nonprofit, before the organization, before the fundraising. There were two of you sitting in a doctor's office, listening to the news that no person wants to hear. What do you guys remember most about that moment?
So this is where I come in. It was COVID of 2020. I finally decided to pick myself up and, go get advice and seek doctors' opinions on what is happening and why we think it's taking so long for us to have a child. Meyer was not able to come with me, so it was a one-man show over here. I went to the doctor's office and I remember walking in that day by myself, wearing a mask, and I open that elevator and I see a line of ladies in this office, and I was like, holy cow, what am I walking into right now? In that elevator, thinking that I'm gonna be the only one out there, and that I am alone, and not knowing what's gonna be was a very terrifying feeling for me, especially in the time of COVID when you're already feeling isolated and alone. So opening that elevator and seeing those ladies outside of the office waiting online to be seen gave me a drop of comfort, but I still did not know what I was getting myself into. Fast forward a little bit, I walked into the office and the doctor's introducing himself, and anybody who knows me, friends, family, I'm not one of doctors. I run away from them. My blood pressure skyrockets.
Not the biggest fan.
I'm not the biggest fan of doctors. I prolong every appointment possible. But I said, you know what? This is something obviously very important to us, and I just got to get up and do it. So I did. Sitting in that doctor's office waiting for him to come in. He came in, he introduced himself, and he told me, you just got to do IVF. He didn't even give me any other options. And now I remember thinking to myself, IVF, like those 3 words, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what they mean. I have never heard of them before. And he started drawing these things up for me on a piece of paper and trying to make me understand. And I just told him, I was like, okay. And I remember just like, okay. I walked out of the office and I remember calling Meyer. I was hysterical. I ran to my brother's house, actually, and I was sitting in his driveway. I don't know why I wasn't ready to go home, but I just went there, and I called Meyer. I was like, come home, and I told him what had happened, and we were actually in the midst of moving across the street from our rental that
Moving
night,
back to Deal.
and we were just moving in. So like, I was thinking about settling in, and then this conversation with the doctor, and
It was a lot.
it was just a lot of emotions at one time, and we just needed like a minute to like swallow everything, because I had no idea what just went on that day.
So after you guys swallowed, you guys took a minute and you guys finally processed what had happened, what did you do after? I mean, this is like a harrowing experience you guys are faced with.
So I remember picking ourselves up, and we said, okay, this is what it is. We finally settled at home, and we moved in, and thank God. And it happened to be that night, SBH had just came out with their grand opening of their fertility division. It was like Hashem talking to me and telling me, don't worry, there's plenty like you out there. You're not the only one. And we literally sat on the floor that night because our beds didn't come in. We were on a mattress, seriously. And we just turned on SBH live, and we were hearing couples. We heard a couple speak about her journey and how she got through it and her ending. And I said, you know what? This is comforting, and this is Hashem telling me, like, I'm going to hold you throughout every single step of the way. And I know that you're going to get through this, because if she can, I can. And if I can, everybody can.
And that gave you the motivation to finally go out and tell people, or did you keep it a secret at first?
So we kept, if I recall correctly, we kept it rather quiet for, I want to say, maybe the first year into it. Again, it was during COVID, so we were staying away somewhat from family and friends, right? And of course, I couldn't go to the doctor's appointments. My mother-in-law couldn't go to the doctor's appointments. I want to say maybe my mother-in-law had some sort of hunch that we were in the process of going to see the doctors, but we never came out, at least in the beginning, and said, okay, yes, we know that there's an issue, and we're going to doctors, and we have to do IVF. I think we just kept it on, like, let's just see how this,
Wow.
how this plays out. We
I
kept
don't
it.
think anybody knew.
Yeah, no,
I
we
think
kept it
for
quiet.
the first year, we just kept our little secret in our little home bubble. Like,
Maybe it was just us and our rabbi.
and our rabbi for guidance for a
Not
whole
even
year.
your mom?
No.
Not even.
Wow.
No.
Not even. I remember his mom texting him, and then my mom calling me every day, just like, every parent worries about their child.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has concerns, but I did not feel comfortable enough to open up a topic that I didn't know enough about to go ahead and say, okay, this is what I've been told, A, B, C, and D. To tell me that I have to go through IVF, and I don't know what that is, I didn't feel like anybody should know anything just yet if I confidently didn't know much about it.
Right. We didn't know ourselves what our next day was going to be. Like what, okay, yes, we have to do this, but okay, well, what does that mean? Every day is another thing, whether it's a blood test or it's another checkup or it's a MRI, whatever it might be. We ourselves don't know what the next day is going to bring. So how could we then now tell everyone, oh, by the way, this is what's going on and this is what we're going to do. Like, this is our plan. We didn't have that yet.
So you'd never had like a schedule. Everything was just sporadic, happening every single
Well, in the
moment.
beginning, I recall there was a lot of testing. Where it was literally for months, it was just trying to figure out what was going on. So doing the tests, waiting for the results, doctors reviewing the results, coming up with a next step plan. It's just a whole long waiting game.
So that was your day-to-day. Wow.
That was the day-to-day. I mean, for me, I was basically, like, I wanted to be the strong husband, but I myself had no idea what my wife was going through. I didn't understand it. I didn't have any sort of understanding. I just wanted to be there for my wife. However, at the point that I knew that I could.
It wasn't really happening to you, so you had to kind of channel her emotions through you, Was it hard? Was it difficult to put yourself in her place?
So I definitely struggled putting myself in my wife's place because, again, I didn't understand. She would tell me, okay, yes, I went to the doctor today because I wasn't allowed to go with her to any of the visits, which was the hardest thing for me, right? You want to be there for your spouse, but I couldn't because of COVID.
It's horrible.
It was very rough. And again, it was just afterwards coming back from the appointment, I remember my wife would call me, most of the time in tears, saying, this is what happened today. Whether it was just something physical like a blood test that could have been painful, but it was more, I guess, emotional. That was the real traumatizing and painful part of everything.
So I just want to add on, it was also like the fear of not knowing what your next phone call from a doctor is going to be, or the result is going to be, whether you were going to get a good result, a bad result, or no result at all. You know, that was also like something going through COVID, also just being in the unknown, where your world is the unknown and then this is the unknown together. It's just like an add-on to it.
It's every day waiting for those results.
Yeah, and along with that, you guys are watching all your friends, all your families experiencing their own first with their new children. They're having Brit Milot, they're having family vacations, they're doing all these things with their families. How did you guys feel just witnessing all of this happening, unfolding in front of you, while you can't really do anything about your situation?
To me, the way I look at it, I'm very, I don't know, different. It actually motivates me. It motivates me to move forward. I love my nieces and nephews like they're mine. I love my friends' kids like they're mine. And I look at it as like, I want that someday, so why can't I be happy? Like, and if I'm gonna be happy, then maybe that would give me a closer chance to get what I see. So I look at it as if, okay, there's nothing wrong with it. It's cute. It's fun. The kids are cute. Everybody's like, I'm so happy for everybody. And I am one to attend all these Brit Milah. And I'm always the one running to birthday parties and ready to do things and babysit and all that stuff. Because to me, I feel like if I run to something that I genuinely care about, then maybe it's just a one step closer for me to get it.
Amazing.
I think for me, it was hard because my business is managing events, right? So so it's my business, so I'm attending all of these events. And in the beginning, I recall, I just remember being very faded, like in a daze. Like, okay, I'm here, I'm working. And every single time that someone will come over to you, because of course they know when you get married and they know, okay, that you didn't have a child yet. Okay, they're saying a bell and everything. The amount of times that I heard that, that's the last thing I ever wanted to hear. And I kind of put myself like, okay, yeah, I always have the belief that it's going to happen at the right time, which I totally believe. But I remember it was definitely, in the beginning days, very difficult for me, whether it was a family member announcing that they were pregnant, that hit home. You know, it's obviously, okay, great, we're going to have another niece, we're going to have another nephew, I'm so excited, we love you and everything. But when are we going to have our own? When is my child going to play with the nieces and nephews? You know, sometimes the nieces and nephews would say, oh, do you and Auntie Golda have a baby yet? They didn't know what that actually meant. Right? They don't know what the depth of what that statement is actually giving off to us and what what emotions are coming out of that. So it was very difficult. And over time, it got easier. Of course, it's still like another tug at the heart that, another person I have to go to. Oh, did you hear this one got pregnant? This one, wow, they just got married 6 months ago. They're pregnant. I'm so happy for them. But we're married 6 years. When's it going to be our time? So it's always that struggle, at least for me.
Wow.
That's heavy.
That was great, though. You guys are experiencing all of this pain and this struggle from your own difficulties. And I want to know, how were you guys finally able to open up? I mean, what is the story? What is the moment where you are finally going to tell your mother that you are going through this entire situation?
Like we said, we're married for 6 years. We didn't tell anybody. Obviously, the first year of marriage, we're like any other couple, taking it easy. We're very relaxed. We're very chilled. We're just not even thinking of anything, because things come naturally, we think, and we hope. But we were living in Brooklyn, and we decided, well, he decided, that we were going to make the move, and Deal's the place for us. So we picked ourselves up and we moved to Deal, and I think that personally that was the best thing for me, because it helped me gain that confidence in going through what I'm going through today and be so independent and letting me conquer all these fears that I had and that I thought I'd never be able to conquer. So we moved to Deal, we're settled in, the whole story of me finding out that I have to go through whatever I have to go through, And I was on the phone with my mother, and she decided she wants to FaceTime me. And I'm in the kitchen doing things, and I'm praying to God that she does not ask me one more time if I went to the doctor already, or like if I have been seen or checked, or did I speak to anybody yet. And then she FaceTimes me, and we're talking, and I'm looking at her, and we're talking in regular conversation. And then she goes to me, she literally comes up on the camera, and she goes, "Tell me, did you go to the doctor already?" And then at that point, I just bursted, and I said, "Yes, I went to the doctor. I'm being checked. Please don't worry." And at that moment, I saw her take like a big deep breath, and like she said, I could finally sleep like a normal human. I said, "I'm sorry, Ma, I just didn't know. Like, I didn't know what anything was till I did my research. I didn't know what else to say." But she said, "Okay, I don't want to know any other detail. A mother just wants to know that her daughter is being taken care of, like, or son, daughter, sister, brother, like whatever. They want to know that, you're being taken care of, and you're being watched over, and you're in a different state, and you just left your mother from Brooklyn to Deal, and it wasn't the easiest thing, but whatever." That was like the reassuring moment for her, that I went to the doctor, and I guess from there, the family knew that,
Once the mom knows, everybody knows.
Once the mom knows, everybody knows, and everybody's more calm. So that was that. So how we revealed it to the world that a giving hand became a giving hand is, I had my first doctor appointments when we finally said that we're going to start the treatments, and we're going to start going to a doctor and, seeing what he wants us to do and what's in store. I got a call at 5 p.m. that afternoon from the financial coordinator, and she hit me with a bill of $14,000. And I go to her, "You're calling me at 5 p.m. when my appointment's at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you want me to be financially cleared?" She said, "I'm sorry, this is protocol, but if you don't have the fundings, don't worry, we'll push you off to next month." I said, "I'm not pushing off a dream that I've been waiting for because of the money." And I told her, "I'm going to call you back." So I hung up the phone. I called Meyer. I was hysterical. I was like, "She just hit me with a $14,000 bill. She wants me to pay today, within the hour before they close the office, or she's going to move my appointment, and my cycle is going to be canceled, and I have to wait another month." So we called the rabbi. We consulted the rabbi. He told us exactly what to do. And that point, that night when everything was like finally, like when everything quieted down, I said, "Meyer, if I'm going through such a thing, I can't imagine what other couples are going through with financials. I can't imagine a couple like feeling the way I'm feeling. Like I can't sleep at night knowing that a couple can't start to build a family because of money. We got to do something about it." He's like, yeah, don't worry, we'll sleep on it. The next morning, we got up, and we're like, "Okay, so did you sleep on it?" And he's like, "Oh, maybe we should wait till we have our own miracle. We'll open it with our own miracle." He went to work. He came home for lunch, and he's like, "You know what? I just opened the bank account. We just opened the giving hand," and that's how it started. And tell them about
It was just
your
crystal
night.
clear to me, meaning that, there's no crazy, at least for me, there was no crazy moment because, again, we took the darkest challenge and the darkest, hardest, most intimate part of our lives and then turned it into something that now we're telling the entire community, "Hey, by the way, we're struggling, but don't worry, we got your back. We're here for you." It was just a crystal clear moment for me because my background was always involved in other organizations, really like fundraising and putting together events. Of course, organizations that were close to my heart, but this was different because this was something that I owned. This was my baby. This was something that I finally called it my own. So it was just a crystal clear moment that, okay, we're going through something now. We realize that other couples are going to be in the same situation that we were in the moment. We didn't know what to do. We figured it out, and we said, okay, now we have to make a stand. We have to do something about it. And we said, you know what? Let's jump in and see where this takes us.
That night, Meyer told me that he's going to learn with his partner, and he comes home with the craziest thing. We were coming up with a name, And I said, a giving hand, yeah, why not? A giving hand, I love a giving hand. And then he goes, and he calls me, he goes, Golda, you don't understand what I just learned in the Gemara. He goes, no, something, titen yad, to give a hand. And I said, Maya, this is Hashem talking to you. We are sealing the name tomorrow with the bank. We're getting it. We're done. Like, this is Hashem giving us a smile and saying, this belongs to you.
I have to show you the picture.
That's incredible.
I have the picture on my phone with the line in the Gemara with my finger pointing to it. Because again, that was like, okay, if there was any other questions about, because we were floating different names and everything. We said a giving hand. Okay, it's nice, but we didn't think the depth about it.
Is it catchy enough? Is it nice? Is it cute? Is it too much? Is it...
What is it?
Yeah, what is it? Like,
And then we saw this. We said, okay, that's it. No more
perfect.
questions. It's in the book. The book came before I did. That's it. It's settled.
It's perfect. It's perfect. So you guys figured it out. You guys showed the world. But now, how did you break this entire barrier? Like, I feel like before there was so much shame that comes along with infertility. I mean, people are just so kind of embarrassed and shameful of the fact that they can have a child. So how are you able to reassure all of these people you're trying to give your hand to? How are you guys able to reassure them that everything is just going to turn out fine?
So when I speak to a couple, primarily they'll call me. Most of the time it's the wife, right? The husbands want to be that strong type and be like, I have to support my wife. This is an awkward conversation, so the wife calls me. One of the first lines I tell every single couple that calls me is, don't worry, we're going to help you. But more than that, let me tell you a little about me. Now, I don't say that so that they could feel, oh my gosh, I had no idea. You're also struggling? Wow, that must be so hard. No. I tell them, I said, I'm going through this. I know exactly what you're going through. What do I mean by that? I could be coming back from an appointment myself. And it could be good news or it could be other news. And I'm able to feel whatever I felt in that moment and now hear the person on the phone saying, wow, my wife just came back from a doctor. They told us A, B, and C, and we don't know what to do. I know what that feels like. So I tell them, don't worry, you're not alone, number one. Number two, I always say this, you're not a victim, you're actually a warrior. Why? Because Hashem specifically chose you for this challenge. It must be that there's strength hidden within you that you just got to pull out. At least in my own life, because the person I am today, I'm a lot more vocal about this personal struggle than I was growing up. Right? Anyone who knows me from the past, I was a quiet guy. I hate the lights. I hate the fame. I don't know how to take compliments. I don't do it for that. So we realized that, okay, we're able to help. We're able to listen. And I guess over time I became a better listener. And giving advice to people from my own personal experience, that's the only true way to help someone is when you're going through the same challenge as they are. So you could sympathize with them with that.
Suffering from this, you guys hit rock bottom, And I just want to know, I want to get an insight of what does that exactly look like? Because I've been told that struggling with infertility is like a full-time job, And I want to know what it's like from you guys, your experience of dealing with this situation.
Okay, well, it for sure involves your phone being on loud to hear your alarm. Making sure you get your appointments in as soon as you can. Monitoring hours is 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. You have to be in the office for blood work and your testings.
Within that
time frame, from 6 to 8. So you're given a time to make an appointment anywhere from 6, 6:15, 6:30, 6:45, 7, 7:15, 7:30 till 8 o'clock and not later to get yourself in there, blood work done and seen by the doctor because of results having to be in that day within hours to see what your cycle is going to be looking like for the next day. So now here's me coming back from appointment 1, coming home, making sure I get in touch with the nurse, get my next appointment in for the next day, making sure I read the email for instructions, I have my medicine done, ready, and all set for the next day appointment. My alarm, like I said, is on the earliest possible because I am a snoozer and I like my sleep. So I make sure that is set for enough time to get up early in the morning. I get there between 6 and 8 again. And making sure that I get there on time. And again, once you finish that appointment, you're again scrolling on your phone, waiting for the results to come in and seeing what your next step is. It's all time uncertainty, time, uncertainty, and waiting for the call to see what your next step and what your next day will look like.
And at the same time, tons of women are going through this exact same experience.
So you are one out of 100 women who came in that morning, and you could be number 100 waiting for the call. So as early as possible, you could be at the doctor's office, but there's still others behind you also waiting and thinking the same like you, like, oh, when's the doctor calling me? Oh, when am I scrolling for my email? Oh, when's the nurse calling? When's the doctor calling? Are my medicines in? When do I start? Who's gonna give me my medicines? Like, and just making sure that you are all prepped and ready for the cycle to be as perfect as you could imagine it to be.
I remember my first experience when I was actually able to go on one of these visits. I don't remember ever seeing a waiting room as large as this one. They had a fish tank. They had, I don't think I'm exaggerating. Maybe they had seats for about 200 people.
Wow.
It was massive. And again, sometimes they don't have the appointments available locally. We were lucky for the most part that it was within 5-10 minutes away from our home. But depending on when we got the results, when we called to make the next appointment, if they didn't have availability, we had to drive 45 minutes away, but still be there by 6 a.m.
If we were lucky to get an appointment at the second location.
Right. Sometimes you're struggling and you're like, what am I going to do? This is when you called me, and now I'm kind of dealt with these next cards.
It's unpredictable.
Completely unpredictable. You have to be very patient, and you got to be on your game. And I don't know how Golda does it with constantly, she's on the phone making appointment after appointment, getting forms over, and the doctors always say, we've never met a woman like you that you're getting everything in order to us on time to make sure you don't miss anything, because unfortunately it's kind of looked at like as a business. So it's okay, well, you didn't get what you need, sorry, there's nothing we can do to help you. And again, there's so many people going through this, so imagine everyone trying to fit into the same tiny schedule. It's very difficult.
I literally once told the nurse, I'm not just another number to you, I gotta get in somewhere. My cycle means a lot to me.
This is not just done through the doctors, it's done through you guys. You guys have to also have like a crazy amount of commitment if you want to actually get it done, because doctor's offices are not doing anything for you because you guys are kind of on your alone for this, except for providing the treatment.
It's something you could definitely not be so laxed about.
You got to be on your game.
Definitely not.
Constantly.
I've never been on my phone so much in my life, so glued onto my email, so glued onto my patient portal, so glued onto my calling list and my emails, and like just to make sure that I'm like set for the next day. And when I finally am, I can't wait to throw my phone on the couch and be like, okay, I'm done for the day. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody else. I've done enough, and I cannot wait to just move on, and that's it. My day's over.
Sometimes they don't tell you, meaning you're going in for the test or whatever procedure you might be going in for that determines results, that you're supposed to receive those results and then send them out. When you get them and you send them out, you don't always get a phone call, hey, we got it. So it's sending it out, and then if you really want to be on top of it, it's also calling, hi, did you get the results? Oh, no, you didn't get it? Let me call the other person. Let me call you back. Then it's becoming like back and forth. And then again, for them, they have their checklist. Did we get this? Yes. Did we get this? No. Sorry, so she can't go on. Next. That's how it's looked at. So you really got to always be on it. Like, oh, did I send it? Did I send to the right person? I don't know.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Got to be
on three-way with people. It's just like a, yeah.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's definitely a lot.
Yeah, it's broken telephone. Literally. Yeah.
And again, an IVF treatment is $18,000 per treatment, right? And women have to go through multiple cycles of this constantly. So my question is, how many families have you helped, and how many children have you been able to allow into this world?
So as of today, we've helped over 140 couples. And thank God from those couples, 41 of them already have had children. And another about 25, 26 are pregnant at the moment.
Wow.
When people ask me that question, Mark, they're kind of looking for the stats, right? Saying, okay, how are we going to judge the organization and their success and their achievements and things like that? So I, a lot of times just rattle off those numbers. Yeah, we helped 140 couples, there's 41 children. Okay, next. People get floored by that because when we first started, we said, if we help one couple, great. I don't know where it's going to take us, right? And what they tell me, one of my donors always tells me, when people ask you, do you have children yet? Don't say no. Say, yes, I do. I have 41 children through a giving hand, because each one of those children technically and partially belong to us. Because if we didn't get involved and provide that financial assistance, those couples would not have had children, right? They were lacking the funding. So they need to get it from somewhere. If we weren't there, I don't know where it would have came from.
It's remarkable. You guys have helped 140 families, allowed for 40 babies to be born with 25 coming on the way. I want to get into that first couple, the first couple that you guys had helped. It was probably a crazy experience. I want to hear about the story. How did you guys feel when you realized that you made an impact on this couple's life?
So the first couple that we've helped was actually someone who's friendly with Golda, who grew up with Golda. And I was looking back at the application, and so I asked Golda, okay, honey, this so-and-so couple reached out, do you know them? She said, do I know them? I went to school with her. I know exactly who she is. I know her mother, I know the sister, I know everyone, right? That's the type of community we live in. I said, okay, great. So thank God we helped them. They had a 2-year journey till they had their first child, thank God. And now they're expecting their second child. But the first A Giving Hand baby is someone who was close to me. I was working on a different job years ago, and I saw this guy around. I was in real estate, so this guy provided a service for the home. And I saw him, talking to him, got friendly with him, and then literally I have not seen this guy, I want to say for like 5 years, something like that. One day I saw him in shul, and I guess at that point he heard of A Giving Hand. And he said, you know what, Mark, can I talk to you? And I said, of course, what's going on? Long time no see. How's everything? How you been? What's going on? And he says, we've been struggling, actually. I said, okay, talk to me. How could I help? He started going a little bit, and he was a little shy and a little hesitant, I caught on. I said, don't worry. You're not the only one. You're not the first person that called us, and you're not going to be the first person that we helped either. So tell me, how could I help you? And he went into his story, and I said, okay, do me a favor. Fill out an application. We're going to help you. I know you. We're going to help. And just let me know how I could help and what exactly you need. And thank God they were the first A Giving Hand baby. And it was amazing because he and his wife wrote us a beautiful thank you letter and said, if it's crazy because I saw you 5 years ago. I don't know where you went. We basically separated ways for 5 years, 5, 6 years, something like that. And then I saw you one day in shul, and all of that led to now me having a child that's yours. So it's just crazy how everything comes back full circle. You don't know who you're going to help, and you don't know by being vocal who you could actually help. That's why I always try to be as normal and to give off that feeling that you're not alone. There's so many people going through it, unfortunately. There will be so many more people that have to build the confidence to then admit to themselves and to others who can help that, hey, I also am struggling with this. And it's so normal because you look at us, we're normal people, right? Community people, nothing wrong with us. We're going through something. It's painful, it's hard, but we pick up our head every day. We do what we have to do. And we have that belief that it's going to happen one day at the right time.
Do all these children, do all these newborns that you guys have helped, does that motivate you?
100%. The best feeling in the world for me, because I always tell the couples, I'm not just a bank. I'm not just writing you a check and then invite me to the bris if you remember me. We're constantly following up with them over the months, checking in with them, sending them gifts on the holidays and important parts. And a lot of the
pictures
time,
that I get, sorry, I'm going to cut you off. The pictures that I get from couples who that we've helped, you just see like the smiles on that kid's face, face or faces. It wakes me up every morning because like, is she gonna send me one today? Is she gonna send me one today? Am I excited? Like, am I gonna be like getting one today?
You're happy to be on your phone finally.
I'm happy to be on my phone.
Yes.
It's worth being on my phone and just getting up and doing what we do to help these couples just to receive those pictures. I remember we helped a couple. She was going through a very, very, very difficult time, and then her time came, and thank God she had a baby, and she told me, Golda, pray, pray, pray. It's happening. Pray, it's happening. Within the hour, she FaceTimed me, and I was not expecting. She showed me the picture of the baby. Like, she put her on camera. She goes, this is Auntie Golda. Like, say hi. And I was like, oh my God, it happened so fast. Like, what just happened? And she was just like so happy to whatever. She was just so happy, and she like sends me pictures of her, and I have one of my clients that I have, she literally walks me through the kid's life, like from newborn, and now he's like turning 2. I know his whole lifespan from 0 to 1 and turning 2, God bless, and I really feel like they're my own, and I just, that's what motivates me to just keep going, and
I feel like we
we're
were
gonna
there
get there.
every day for bath time. And baby's 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, baby's having snack, first steps, but again, like we said before, it's 140 couples that we've helped. That translates to thousands of people, right? It's not just, okay, the 2 people that we helped, it's their families, their parents, their siblings, their friends, everyone around them. That's thousands of people that were impacted because one couple had a baby. So each time, like Golda was saying, that they're sending a picture, or they're sending us the invitation to the bris, or they're sending us gifts. Before the holidays, we're getting, boxes of desserts and wines and thank you cards and baby pictures and things like that. That I said, Meyer, Golda, you guys changed our life. We're forever grateful. We're forever indebted, and these are your children. So it's just like I send pictures of my child to my parents. I think that's how they feel towards us. That they say, okay, wait a second, you guys basically brought this baby into being. We have to show you bath time. You have to be there. What does that mean? You're not coming to the birthday party? Let me show you the cake smash and all of that. We were there, and we're forever there. Like I said, we're not just there to help them with the money. It's more on the emotional side also, because it's equally as important.
That's incredible. And also, you guys are actually like adding them to your new family. It's like
100%. We call all of our couples, welcome to the A Giving Hand family. It started with 2, and now we're hundreds, if not thousands of people that we allowed into our family.
Incredible. And also, you were talking about how after the fact, you still follow up with them. So why do you do that? Why is that so important to you?
I think on a personal level, A Giving Hand is not just an organization to me. It's more my personal therapy. So it's not just, okay, there's a certain gratification that you feel when you help someone financially with something that they need in order to accomplish something. But there's more than that. Whether it's success or, I don't want to say failure, but not the greatest news that they receive, we are now a part of that every step of their journey, right? We're there. They tell us, Mara, we're going in for a procedure now. We're going in for a retrieval or a transfer. Can you pray for us? 100%. What's your Hebrew name? Let's give tzedakah. Let's have other couples pray for them. So I think the reason why I do that is because when they call me, they realize that I'm a familiar face. I'm part of the same community that they're from. And I think it's less intimidating, rather, to be more vulnerable.
It's giving them comfort to open up on a personal level and making them feel, like I said in the beginning, like I'm a normal human. Like, you made me feel normal. You made me feel like I'm as equal as you are. There's nothing to be ashamed about. So I just want to keep you in the loop of what we're going through.
Yeah, there's a certain attachment. I don't have the right words to put to it, but it's not just because I spent the 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes on the phone with them for that initial call, but those phone calls are personal details that the couples, specifically the women, have not even told their own mother, right? Like we said, it's something that, and this challenge is so difficult for the couple. I think it's equally as difficult for the families, because as much as they want to help, there's nothing physically that they can do. It's more, it's more spiritual. Yeah, we'll pray for you. We have you in our thoughts, but physically, we're the ones going to the doctors. So I think it's just, I guess it's something that they feel comfortable sharing, something that hopefully I became decent at giving advice and suggesting them down the right path from our own experience. And there's just an attachment that from that phone call, it's just, okay, you called me, great. Now add you to my database, but not add you to my database, add you to my family. So you're one of my own. You're my brother, you're my sister.
Incredible. Yeah. I love that. I love that about you guys. You guys, just side note, you're just bringing these people in. It's like it doesn't feel like an organization. I think that's what separates you guys actually, from other funds and other donation places. Just the fact that you guys are personal, you're genuine with other people, because you realize that this is a universal issue. It's not because you guys experienced it,
Exactly.
It's universal. No one's a mistake. No one has to be ashamed of anything,
There's nothing wrong with it. Mm-hmm. Not at all.
You guys have created this organization 3 years ago, and you guys have touched the lives of thousands of people, just like you mentioned before. What is one specific story that you guys remember of a time you guys helped a family?
So I remember the story as if it happened yesterday. A couple called me and she was hysterical crying. And I told her what happened. She couldn't even take a breather for a second to explain what had happened. I told her, calm down a minute. If you need to call me back, call me back. But I want to know what happened. I'm here for you. Like, let me know. And if it was in midst of the winter, it was gloomy. It was Friday, short Shabbat, and she was like, she'd lost it. She was very hurt, down, upset, didn't know what to do. She took a breather, called me back 2 minutes later. She said, Golda, they're going to cancel my cycle. I said, what happened? She said, there's a payment that's due, a form that needs to be filled out. I need to get it to them by the end of the day. Shabbat's at 4 o'clock. They close at 4 o'clock. And if I don't give it to them today, my cycle is moved to next month and I'm done for this month. And everything that I've done, every medicine that I've took, everything that I've signed for is all going to go to the garbage for this month. I said, pause. Let me call you back. I called Meyer and I said, it's Friday. It's the winter. Shabbat's at 4 o'clock. I need to help this couple by 3:30 because Shabbat's at 4. He said, okay, go. Give her the credit card. Just do what you got to do. I said, I don't even know why I asked you. I shut the phone. I called her back. I said, where are you? She goes, I'm in Newark. I said, great. Stay there. I got in my car. I was already ready for Shabbat. I'm crazy like that. I get ready from the day before. Everything's done. She told me she was in work. I told her, great, stay there. I went to literally pick her up. I drove her to the office. I literally spoke to the front. I said, you don't say a word. Let me talk. I said, hi, do you know who this patient is? Let me handle whatever needs to be handled for her to have her cycle done on Sunday. She said, sure. Like, I literally went with a strict face and I was like, I need to get things done, like Shabbat starting. She said, okay, this needs to be done, this needs to be signed, and this needs to be paid for. I said, great. This is signed for, this is paid for, and this is done. She goes, okay, now we just need to wait for the financial coordinator to clear her. I said, put me on the phone. She said, okay. Like, I was very intimidating to her, but I said, I'm not getting out of here till I know she is done. And then I had the client who was next to me call her financial coordinator, and while I'm in the office, and say, hi, so-and-so, I'm at the office. I'm financially cleared. She has a check in her hand, so you better clear me. So 2 minutes later, she got a call back, and she said, you're all good to go. You could start whatever you need to start tonight, and your cycle will start on Sunday. Great. We got home literally 5 minutes before Shabbat started. She called me within the 18 minutes, thanking me, crying, thanking me. I was like, just go enjoy Shabbat in peace and relief that you have started Shabbat, knowing that you could start your journey and nothing got in the way. And Baruch Hashem, go light your Shabbat candles, and we'll talk Sunday. Thank God, she started her journey, and she actually got pregnant that month. And 9 months later, she was due at our last year's breakfast date, and she had a beautiful baby boy. And I was so, so happy that we didn't give up on a situation like that where we easily could have. Whether it was me or her, it was Friday, it was winter. It wasn't easy to reach anybody on a Friday. You know, everybody's rushing to get their weekend started. But it just made me feel so good to just get in that, like, into the weekend knowing that she was being taken care of, and especially hearing the outcome of her, of A, the procedure and everything she went through was successful. B, she had a beautiful pregnancy. Thank God everything went well, and it led to a positive result. And B, a baby boy was born. So it just gave me like such a great feeling that we didn't give up, and that just led me to, like, every time it feels hard, like the situation feels hard, I just remember this story because anybody could easily give up. But when I go back and replay this story, I said, no, I can't give up. I can't give up. We can't give up, because if that could happen to her, it could happen to me, it could happen to you, and it could happen to any of those couples waiting online for their miracle.
If you hadn't done that at all, nothing would have happened that month, and who knows how long it could have taken for her to have a baby. So it's incredible that because of that specific moment right before Shabbat, and the fact that you prepared Shabbat before,
Literally.
so it saved you actually.
There was no
Literally
time.
on a winter Friday.
Winter Friday.
It was,
I remember Golda calling me and saying, I'm going with so-and-so to the doctor. I said, what are you doing going to the Shabbat's in 2 hours? Yeah.
he's like, I'm
What does
going
that
to
even
shul.
mean? What does that mean? Where are
He's
you
like,
going
I'm
right
going
now?
to shul. I was like, great,
have to.
you go to shul. I'll just prepare my candles. I'll be home. All I need to do is light.
tell
I
you
need
about
to
it
know
later.
she's ready. So thank God, everything has a perfect time. And when Hashem puts something in your head, like, you just go full force, and
Don't ask questions.
the outcome is better than you ever expect it to be.
From what we discovered from this entire conversation is the fact that you guys are normal people, you know? You guys have done the same experiences that every other woman and couple has gone through, and you guys create an entire organization, and you told us about your story, you told us about your personal moments and experiences, but I want to know what happens on the back end. What are we not seeing that people just don't know about?
I think when people see me, they see a warrior. They see a man, a husband, who's going through so much, but yet he's dedicating half of his day, because I spend half of my day on a giving hand with pleasure, but they see the guy who's behind the organization. I don't know if they see the Meyer Ashear behind the scenes. Like, when I wake up in the morning, when I go to get dressed in the morning, I go into my closet. I have to go into another bedroom for that. It's an empty bedroom. That hits me every single day. Then I come down to my dining room, and I see a beautiful dining room with 12 dining room chairs, but yet we only occupy 2 of them. Friday night, when we say Shabbat Shalom, it's just Golda and I. There's no children. Not yet. I didn't give a berachah to my son. Golda didn't give a berachah to her daughter yet. And they see us going about our day, that, okay, fine, these two, this couple, yes, we know they don't have children yet, and it's hard and all of that. But all of those little moments adds up, right? It obviously affects me, and I don't want to say pains me, because it's my reality, which I've accepted, that I'm in shul. Let's say I'm going past the kids binyan. I'm seeing all the fathers sitting with their children. I said, okay, I'm sitting alone. Simchat Torah, everyone's bringing their children to shul, dancing with them. I'm alone in the corner. I haven't thrown a birthday party yet for my child. So I think what a lot of people see is that, yes, I'm going through the same emotions as everyone else. I might not show it. Maybe because I've taken on this responsibility of running the organization, so I have to be the symbol of strength. But at the same time, I could be vulnerable and say, you know what? I'm having an off day today, right? I'm sad. Some days I might wake up and I'm like, I'm not in the mood to talk to anyone today. And that's perfectly normal, right? You have to express those feelings. You have to accept those feelings and admit to yourself that, you know what? Today is a difficult day. And that's fine. I'm normal. And when I'm ready, I'm going to pick up my head and go about my day. And I don't have to be that happy, smiley guy 24/7 because, hey, I'm still human at the end of the day.
But what about you, Golda, with your medical journey as well? What's happening behind the scenes that people don't really know about?
When I get that next appointment visit and I get into that doctor's office and my results are in, and, to hear a doctor say, we literally tried everything for you. I don't know how else I can help you. I need to refer you to someone else. You get taken aback. You get confused. You think or you thought you're in the right hands. You think you're being taken care of. But to hear from a doctor that I got to send you for a second opinion, usually the patient says that I want to go for a second opinion. But to hear from the doctor, it's kind of scary. And it's kind of like you're a doctor, you should know what you're doing.
Like, why don't you know what's wrong with me?
Right. Like, why can't
But
you
again,
get to the bottom of this?
Not what's wrong with me.
Right.
What's the second opinion you're referring to?
Like getting a second opinion from a different doctor to look over your case. So when I heard that I have to go for a second opinion, I was actually driving at night and the doctor himself called me and he's like, Golda, we literally did all the testings for you. I really feel bad for taking so much blood from you and doing all these sonograms and blood works and testings and getting you up so early in the morning and like to just keep telling you that we don't see anything wrong and just bringing you here and just telling you things over and over and over again and making you repeatedly doing all these things and just coming to tell you that I really don't have any other route to take you to. It's very, very, it's confusing. It's upsetting. So when I was told that, I hung up the phone and I said, you know what? I should look at it as, like Rabbi Joey Haber always says, what would have been the alternative to just keep going and not, look at it as if there's like another way, or oh, the doctor actually has another plan and can refer me out to someone who might be more, in the expertise and probably figure out what's wrong with me. So I looked at it that way and I remembered Rabbi Joey in my head and I called this other doctor right away. I wasn't going back to day one where I was like hesitant. I called this doctor and she happened to get me in right away, surprisingly, gratefully. And I remember she sent me all her labs, but I'm like, Doc, I did all these blood works already. You want them again? She goes, I want everything from scratch. It was 19 vials of blood sitting there just like this for 3 hours. Mind you, fasting from 7 a.m., 19 vials of blood and drinking this sugary, nasty drink. And I was just,
What drink?
Some sugar, I don't know, it was disgusting. It was really horrible. But I was in that lab and I was doing whatever she wanted me to. And I remember I just kept saying to myself, what would have been the alternative? What would have been the alternative? What would have been the alternative? Nothing at all, and just keep being in the unknown, or like hopefully, moving on and figuring out, that something could be there and could be fixed. So I met this doctor and she told me a little bit, fast forwarding the story, she told me to go on this medication, this medication, this medication. And then she actually told me that she wanted me to see a cardiologist. And I told her, like, Doc, I already saw these people. They're so hard to get into and I don't want to go through this all again. She goes, Golda, I can't clear you to start IVF with me if we don't get all of these clearance from all these doctors on my team, because we all work together.
And this cardiologist was the final approval. Meaning
So
he trumped everybody.
So I took a deep breath and I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I met with the cardiologist and I met with the high risk doctor for pregnancy, and I get a call from the cardiologist and he goes, hi Golda. And I know when the doctor himself calls you, it's never a good sign. Never, ever a good sign. So I said, hi, Doc, how are you? He goes, good. But I do, I was looking at your reports and I was looking at your tests and whatever, and I do want you to go get an MRI done. I said, oh, God, getting myself into an MRI now is not, leading me to something, whatever. I did that MRI, and then a few weeks later, I get a call from the cardiologist again, and he told me that I'm going to need to have heart surgery because something is wrong with my heart, and I'm so happy that you didn't get pregnant because it was either you or the baby if you would have gotten pregnant.
Whoa.
So I said, I literally was mute with the doctor for 15 seconds. And then he goes, I know this is not what you want to hear. Take a minute and we'll call tomorrow and we'll figure this all out. I literally called Meyer and I was like, you better come home now. I literally made him stop, drop, and roll. And I came home and I told him the whole story with the cardiologist. And then we said, you know what? This is Hashem protected me. He just saved my life. And this is why I haven't gotten pregnant till now. And something has to be fixed. I promise Hashem that if I'm going to get a second opinion, then something has to be fixed. And this was Hashem's sign of something needed to be fixed ASAP. So we met with the surgeon, we met with the nurses, literally appointments within weeks, which is very rare that something like this could happen. And we got in for surgery a month later, literally 30 days later. And I was in the OR ready to be operated on May 30th of 2024, exactly a week ago. And here I am today. And like I said, if we don't just see Hashem's hand and open signs and things that he's telling you to do and follow, you would not understand why or the reasoning of the challenge that you've been given.
No, that's so incredible though, because you guys have been going on this infertility journey for 6.5 years, and just last year, you guys realized.
Just last year, we've been told that this has to be fixed.
And we cannot continue until you
And
do
we
this. Like there's no option if you want to get another opinion. You want to do IVF, you need open heart
And
surgery.
even if you had a baby, though, like even if that had happened, it would have had horrible consequences because of the fact of your heart problem.
It was really Yad Hashem. It was a very big eye-opening. And once I walked out of that hospital, a week later, I said, Hashem, literally, this is on you now. I have no further questions to why this challenge has been given to me. I'm just going to keep going with the flow because you clearly showed me that you are in control and that you are holding my hand every single step of the way. And if you just saved my life, how dare I question what you're giving, like what you're doing?
He's giving his hand to you. Guys, wow. Like, we just had an amazing conversation about your struggle, how you hid from your mother, how you turned that into your passion, how you reassured other people, how the impact you made on other people's lives. And it's just incredible that we had this conversation. I am so excited for this to come out. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us. This has been an incredible experience, and it's been on a personal level very beneficial, very healthy, I think, to speak about certain things, to give off that we're regular people, that you dealt with certain cards, you can overcome them, and you can turn your darkest moments into the brightest light.
Okay, done.
Nice.
Perfect.
Guys, thank you so much for listening until the end. There were a lot of powerful moments in this episode, but here are 3 takeaways that really stick with me. First, everything happens for a reason. And look, it's easy to say that when you're not in the middle of something painful, but when life hits you hard, that mindset feels impossible. Still, if you look at Golda's story, how their infertility journey led to discovering a heart condition that would have made pregnancy dangerous, it's hard not to see the hand of God in it all. We don't always get that kind of clarity, but this was a reminder to trust the process, even when it makes no sense in the moment. Second, what's obvious to you is not always obvious to others. Meyer and Golda have been through the trenches. They know the treatments, the language, the pain, but for so many others starting out, they had no clue where to begin. Meyer and Golda didn't hoard that knowledge though. They shared it. They reassured people. They created a support system. So whatever you've been going through, whatever insights you gained, don't underestimate how valuable that can be to someone else. It may even be able to change their life. And on that note, for our 3rd takeaway, you can literally change lives. Golda and Meyer are not billionaires. They did not have some massive infrastructure behind them. All they had was a painful experience, a little knowledge, and a decision to help others. And now, look at the result. 140 couples helped, 40 births, 25 on the way. If you zoom out a few generations, they haven't just helped people. They've impacted entire family trees. So don't think you need to be someone else to make a difference. Just take what you know, take what you've lived, and use it. And by the way, if you want to be part of what Golda and Meyer have been building, A Giving Hand has an amazing concert coming up with the one and only Kobe Parrots. Get your tickets today at the link in the show notes. The date is Sunday, July 6th. And with that said, guys, thanks so much for watching this episode. Do your part in helping a growing podcast by sharing this episode with a friend. And guys, one more thing before we go. This podcast is in its early stages. This is one of our first episodes, and I need your feedback. If there's anything that you think I can do better, any kind of feedback at all, I would really appreciate it, because that's how I grow. That's how I improve, with your feedback. So anything you can offer in that regard would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.